Mr. This is here in another one. I'm really energetic today. Today we're gonna work on a specific property of circle, which is one of properties that is devoted by itself. It has one unit for itself called property of circles, and there are so many properties of circle. This is one of the time where your head will spin. So you need to retrieve everything that you have learned in the past, and you will use them in property of circles. So today we're going to look at inscribed quadrilateral in the circle. This is specific quadrilateral in the circle, where the inscribed angles are angles that the vertex lies on the circle. So you need to be aware of that. So we need to be careful. So the terms are very significant when you're dealing with circles. So remember, inscribed angles are angles that the vertices lie on the circle. So today we're going to mainly focus on quadrilateral four-sided polygon, where the vertices lie on the circle, and there's a specific properties that has to do with that. So let's go over the properties. The theorem says that if a quadrilateral is inscribed in a circle, then its opposite angles are supplementary. So there are a lot of definition. Right? They said inscribed angle, inscribed in a circle. So they telling you the only way you can fit a quad, a four-sided polygon, in a circle, if and only if that the vertices that are inscribed, those angles opposite to each other are supplementary. Let's recall from prior knowledge what supplementary means. We said that two angles are supplementary if and only if they add up to 180, if they sum up to 180 degrees. That's definition of supplementary angle. This is something that we covered earlier. And this is telling you the only way that you can fit a quadrilateral. It doesn't matter if it's a square, a rectangle, a trapezoid, a parallelogram, an isosceles trapezoid, a kite, as long as it's a four-sided polygon. The only way you can fit it in a circle if and only opposite sides are congruent, meaning that the angle that are up, the opposite angle are supplementary, not congruent. Congruent means equal, supplementary means two angles that add up to 180 degrees. The only way that can be true, if I take measure of angle D plus measure of angle B, it must be equal to 180. The measure of angle C plus measure of angle A must be equal to 180. This is what the theorem telling you, that the sum of angle D plus angle B will add up to 180. Angle A plus angle C will add up to 180. So let's write this out. Supplementary angle means that the measure of angle A plus measure of angle C in this situation must be equal to 180, because those two angles are opposite. So opposite angle are non-consecutive vertices. A to C, right? That's the diagonal. Those two angles are opposite. Angle A and angle C are opposite. They will sum up to 180. They are supplementary. That's what the theorem telling you. Let's break it down. Same thing if I take this angle B here and angle D, if I sum up them up, they have to be added up to 180. Those two angles will be opposite to each other. That's the meaning of opposite. So if I sum up angle D plus angle B, it must be equal to 180. That's what means supplementary. As you know from prior knowledge, the sum of the triangle in the quad is 360. So as you can see, if I add angle A plus angle C is 180, angle D plus angle B is 180. So if I sum up that measure of angle A plus measure of angle B plus measure of angle C and plus measure of angle D from prior knowledge, this will be equal to 360. Sum of the interior angle of a quad is 360. So we're not focusing on the 360, but however we're going to focus on the opposite angle, meaning that measure of angle A plus measure of angle C will be equal to 180. Measure of angle D plus measure of angle B will be equal to 180. That's how you're going to break it down. All right? It's about supplementary angle, two angles that sum up to 180. So let's recall again. Let's see if we can clarify the terminology. They said the only way, let's break it down this way. The only way you can fit a quad in a circle, meaning the quadrilateral is inscribed, the quad is inside in a circle, if and only if the vertices that are inscribed angle lie on the circle, right? The vertices must be on the circle. Therefore, the opposite angle will be supplementary. The angle that face each other will always add up to 180. This is what the terminology is about. So, the only way you can fit a quad in a circle, if and only if the opposite angle are supplementary. Supplementary means that two angles that add up to 180. In this case, angle B is opposite to angle D. So when I add those two measures of those two angles, they must be equal to 180. That's what supplementary means. When I add angle A plus angle C, it must be add up to 180. Those are opposite to each other. They're facing each other. They're looking at each other. That's what it means. One way you can know that they are opposite, they are not consecutive. They will form the term that's called diagonal. All right? The two angles that are face each other, when you connect them, they become the diagonal. Those two angles will always add up to 180 if the quadrilateral is inscribed in a circle. If the quadrilateral is inside in a circle, that's what inscribed means. Inscribed means inside, circumscribed means outside. In this case, the quadrilateral is inscribed, the circle is circumscribed about the quadrilateral. Those are the terminology that you need to grasp, you need to get. That's what will set you free. So let's recall. They're telling you the only way you can fit a quad, right? Remember, a quad is a four-sided polygon, meaning that that's work for a square. A square is a quad that is four-sided. A rectangle, alright, rhombus is same thing as diamond. Rhombus, diamond. Trapezoid. Isosceles trapezoid. Kite and parallelogram. Those are your four-sided polygon. Right? Those are your quadrilateral. So the only way they're telling you that you can fit any of those properties, any of those polygon inside of a circle, the opposite angle has to be supplementary. Right? They are those inscribed angles that facing each other. When you connect it, that give you a diagonal. They have to add up to 180. This is a concept. This is the concept. This is what you have to apply. Meaning that if I take angle A to angle D, this is not opposite. This is consecutive. Consecutive. Those are called consecutive. Those are become side. But you need to get diagonal, which are called non-consecutive vertices. Therefore, angle A and angle C will always add up to 180. Angle B plus angle D will always add up to 180. So this is the concept I want to convey to you. So those are your properties. So those are the kind of shapes, those are the kind of properties it's going to work for. So you can fit a square, you can fit a rectangle, you can fit a rhombus like diamond, a trapezoid, associated trapezoid, a kite, a parallelogram, only if they are opposite angle are supplementary in the same set. So this is what the theorem telling you. Alright? So now we have the concept, so let's put them in application. Alright, we're gonna have some application coming up. Alright, we're resuming some application. So you have a quadrilateral ABCD that inscribed in a circle. and you are being asked to find the value of the variable and the measure of each angle. So your goal is to find measure of each angle. First, in order to find measure of this angle, you find the variable, which is z in this case. So as we can see, they give you angle A 125 minus z as an algebraic expression, angle B 12z minus 27 as an algebraic expression, and 37 plus 5 is as an algebraic expression. Since we have clarified earlier that the only way you can fit a quadrilateral inside a circle if and only if the opposite angle are supplementary. In this case, that's what we are going to do. Angle B is opposite to angle D, and both of them are z. Then that will help us to find the equation. So you will have measure of angle B plus measure of angle D, those are opposite angle, will be equal to 180. Then this is our equation. Then we're going to substitute for angle B, that will be 12z. 12z minus 27 plus 5z plus 37. This will be equal to 180. In this case, that will help us to solve for z. That's the equation. Now we are going to combine like term. We have 12z plus 5z, that will give you 17z. But when you combine like term, you have minus 27 plus 37, that will be positive 10, is equal to 180. Then in the other operation, you have to subtract 10 on each side. That's what we are going to do. We subtract 10 on each side. Then you will end up with 17z is equal to 170. Now, in order to find z, you will have to divide by 17 on each side. Then in this case, 17 cancel 17, and you ask yourself how many times the 17 goes to 17 one time. 1 times 17 is 17, subtract from 17 is 0, then you bring the 0. In this case, z is 10 degrees. This is the first step. We're not done yet, we only find z. Now, the question also asks you to find the measure of each angle. Alright, let's go and find measure of angle A. Measure of angle A will be 125 minus z minus 10. Therefore, measure of angle A will be 115 degrees. Right? You have 125, take away 10 from me, that 115. Then I can find angle C. Since angle A and angle C are supposed to add up to 180, if angle A is 115, I will have 180, and you subtract 115 from it. Therefore, measure of angle C will be about 65 degrees. That will be easily to find that mental math. Right? Those A and C must add up to 180. Alright? If this is 115, then you subtract 115 from 180, that will give you 65 degrees. Then we need to find measure of angle B. Measure of angle B as an algebraic expression is 12z minus 27. We know what z is. Then we will substitute 10 times 12. Alright, if you take 12 times 10, that will give you 120, and you minus 27 from that. So measure of angle B will be 120 minus 27. That's about 93 degrees. So I have to double check that. I just did that by doing mental math. If you are 120, you minus 27 from it, you'll have to borrow 1 from there. That will give you 3. That will give you 3 from 12 is 9. Therefore, measure of angle B will be 93 degrees. Measure of angle B is 93 degrees. Right? If this is 93 degrees, then you have to subtract from 180 instead, or you can replace it, or you can subtract directly from 180. That will give you about 87 degrees. So if you don't believe that, you can come directly find measure of angle D, which is 37 plus 5 times 10, right? Equals measure of angle D is 5Z plus 37. Then you will have measure of angle D, which is 37 plus 50. Then you will find measure of angle D is 87 degrees. Now we find the 4 angles. Now if you want to be cool and neat, you can add all of the 4 angles that we have found, then it will add up to 360. This is how powerful math is. Right? This is one of the problems that we were supposed to solve. So we're going to come back and to do a couple more so we can get your feel and understand what's going on. Alright, we are moving on with our lesson where those problems are multiple steps. So you need to find the measure of its inscribed angle in this situation. So remember our goal, we are dealing with inscribed quadrilateral in a circle. So we need to identify the opposite angle that are inscribed on this circle. In this case, angle A and angle C are opposite angle. So since I know this is the angle that I'm going to use and that angle, so those two angles will be supplementary. Those are my opposite angle. So they're facing each other. So it says the only way that you can have a quadrilateral inscribed in a circle if and only if the opposite angle are supplementary. In this case, I know angle A is opposite to angle C. So my equation will be that measure of angle A plus measure of angle C will be equal to 180. That's my model equation. Then I'm going to replace that with the algebraic expression for angle A, which is x minus 2, plus the algebraic expression for angle C, which is 2x minus 28. This will give me the opportunity to solve for the variable. That will be the first step. Then I'm going to combine like them in my equation. I have 1x plus 2x, that will give me 3x. I have a minus 2 minus 20, that will be minus 30, is equal to 180. Then I'm going to add 30 to each side. Then I will end up with 3x is equal to 210. Then I'm going to divide by 3 on both sides. Then that will tell me what x is. In this case, x will be 70 degrees. So this is the first part of my expression. So if you are taking a test, 70 will be one of the examples. Don't start celebrating yet. You only find your partial answer. Alright? You always have to go back and read the question. This will help you, this will guide you to find your final answer. So, in order to answer the question fully, they asked me to find the measure of each inscribed angle, meaning I need to find measure of angle A, I need to find measure of angle B, need to find a B and C either. So in this case, I know what x is. I can come here, find measure of angle A. That will be very easy because I know what x. Alright, x is 70. I will have 70 minus 2. That will be measure of angle A. In this case, measure of angle A will be 68 degrees. So now it's no longer unknown. I find it what it is. Angle A will be 68 degrees. Because x is 70. When you take 70 minus 2, that will give you 68 degrees. So since I know those two angles are supplementary, I could take a shortcut, take 68, subtract from 180. Since those two angles are supposed to add to 180. Then that will give me about 112. But if you are a non-believer, you can go and come here, triangle C directly. That will be 2 times x, which is 70, minus 28. Then you will have measure of angle C. 2 times 7 is 140. Then you take 140, you minus 28 from that. Then you will see measure of angle C is 112, like we predicted earlier. So this angle will be 112 degrees. As you can see, if you take 68 plus 112, that will give you 180. Then you're done with that first part. by solving for x, we identify what angle A and angle C are. Now we have to create another equation because we have a different variable. So that's what we are going to do. So take your time, grasp and understand the concept. So it's all about opposite angular supplementary. That's what we are going to do. So we're going to use the other two angles that are opposite. In this case, the two other angles that are opposite are angle D and angle B. Therefore, those two angles will be supplementary. So those two angles that are face each other. So your model equation will be measure of angle B plus measure of angle D must be equal to 180. Those are my two opposite angles. Then I'm going to replace my algebraic expression for angle B, which is 6z minus 1, plus my algebraic expression, which is 10z plus 5 is equal to 180. Then this is my equation. In this case, I need to simplify. Then I will end up with 16z. That will give you a positive 4 is equal to 180. Then you're going to subtract 4 from each side. Then you will have 16z is equal to 176. You divide both sides by 16. Then you will have z equal, the 16 cancel each other. You ask yourself how many times that 16 goes to 17. That will be 1 time. 1 times 16 is 16. 16 together with 17 is 1. Then you bring down this 6 and you ask yourself how many times that 16 goes to 16 is 1 time. In this case, we find z to be 11 degrees. And remember, this is your partial answer. This is not your final answer. Right? So we'll have to use substitution to find the other two angles. So in order to find angle D, then the expression for angle D is 10 times z. We know z is 11 plus 5. Right? Then you will have measure of angle D is 10 times 11 is 110 plus 5. Then measure of angle D will be 115 degrees. Now we know what this angle is. It's no longer unknown. We find it. Alright? Then to find the other angle, the easiest way you can do is to subtract 115 from 180. You will get that. Since some of you are doubting that, you can always come back again to find measure of angle D. It is 6 times 11. And you minus 1 from that. Then you will find measure of angle D. That will give 66 minus 1. Then measure of angle D will give you 65. That's the other way of finding that. And if you want to go, you add those 4 angles, it will add up to 360. So we have another problem to go, then we can call it a quit. So those are the concepts that you need to apply. So if those angles are opposite, they will be supplementary. So we have another problem to go, and probably do a couple more. So you have enough practice to do, then you go and make the grade. So those are the same. The process is the same. The concept is the same. The variable and the numbers that keep changing. As long as you identify which angle that are opposite, then you will find what are you looking for. So in this case, they give you those expressions. So I know Q and S will be supplementary, but in this case, they don't give me anything for S. S is black, so I will leave this for a while. Then I will go this way. P and R are opposite, they are supplementary. Then I find my break, so I can write my model equation. Angle P, measure of angle P plus measure of angle I is equal to 180. That will help me get what X is. Then that model equation, so I'm going to substitute my algebraic expression where it says P. that will be 5x plus 20 plus angle R, which is 7x minus 8 is equal to 180. This is my model equation. Then now I need to simplify my equation. That will give me 12x plus 20 minus 8 is minus 12 is plus 12. That will be plus 12 is equal to 180. Then I'm going to subtract 12 from each side. Order of operation, PEMDAS. Then I will end up with 12x is equal, that gives you 8, that's 6, that's 168. Then you divide by 12. Then that will tell you what x is. As long as you know how to solve and you apply the concept, you're going to get home free. So you ask yourself how many times does 12 go to 16? That's only one time. 1 times 12 is 12. 12 taken away from 16 is 4. You bring down the 8. Then you have 48 divided by 12. How many times does 12? There's 12 goes to 48. That will be 4 times. 4 times 12 is 48. 48 take away from 48 is 0. And in this case, x is 12. X is 14 degrees. And remember, this is your partial answer. This is not your final answer. Now in this case, I can find measure of angle P easily. So I will have measure of angle P is equal, that will be 5 times x, which is 14, plus 20 degrees. Then you will have measure of angle P is, that's 70, 5 times 14 is 70, alright, plus 20. In this case, measure of angle P, 70 plus 20 is 90 degrees. Wow, that's a right angle. So we end up with that. 5 times 14 is 70. Then, as you can see, if this is a right angle, then you can subtract that from 90. That will give you 90 again. So let's verify that. Then let's find measure of angle R. Measure of angle R will be 7 times 14 minus 8. Alright? We know it's going to be 90, but some of you are non-believers, so I have to verify that to you. That will be 4 times 7 is 28. You bring the 8 carry 2. 7 times 1 is 7. 7 plus 2 is 98. And 98 take away 8 is your magic 90-degree angle. So both angle R and angle P are right angle. So even though they don't look right angle, but the math justify that is a right angle. Alright? This is those two right angles. Now we already know what x is. We can find q easily. Measure of angle q will be any piece of cake. You take a 10 times any number times 14. You move it one places to the right. Therefore, measure of angle q will be 140 degrees. This is an obtuse angle. Right? This is 140 degrees. And as you can see, those two angles are supposed to add up to 180 degrees. You will have angle S plus angle Q is equal to 180. And we have angle S, angle Q is 140 degrees, is equal to 180. The only thing you have to do is subtract 140 from each side. You will find that measure angle S is 40 degrees. Take it home. This is how powerful math is. As you can see, those two angles are supplementary. They add up to 180, like the theorem predicted. Alright? And those two angles add up to 180. So opposite angles are supplementary. So those are the concepts. We're going to do 2 more problems. Then resume our lesson on property of quadrilateral that inscribed in a circle where opposite angles are supplementary. In this case, if you look at this problem, you can see that angle J, which is represented by 15y minus 4, is opposite to angle L, which is represented by 12y minus 5. Therefore, you have no option. Those two angles are going to be supplementary because they are opposite to each other. So that will show you, that will give you direction how to find y. Then once you find y, you will be able to find the measure of each those two angles. So that will be measure of angle J plus measure of angle L. Those are opposite to each other, must be equal to 180. Then in this case, you replace those algebraic expression where you have 15y minus 4 plus 12y minus 5 is equal to 180. Then that's your equation, that's your model equation. Now you just do your thing by simplify your equation. So in order to simplify that equation, you combine like term 15y plus 12y will give you 27y. Minus 4 minus 5 will give you minus 9 is equal to 180. Then you will have to add 9 to each side. Then you will have 27y is equal to 189. Then you divide by 27. In this case, if you don't want to do long division, you may have to find the help of a calculator. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to borrow some help. I'll take 189. Alright. You ask yourself how many times there's 189. Going 27 goes to 189, it says 7 times. So that's 7 even. That's 7 even. Alright? That will be y is 7 degrees. Remember, this is your partial answer. This is not your total answer. So this will help us find the measure of those two angles. In this case, when I know y is 7, I can come replace it here. Then I will find angle J. That will give you 15 times 7 minus 4. So you ask yourself, in order to find angle J, you take 7 times 5, which is 35, carry 3, 7 times 1 is 7, plus 3 is 10, that's 105. You have 105 minus 4. In this case, measure of angle J will be 101 degrees. Right? Now, since I know this is 101 degrees, I can conclude or deduct it that this has to be 79 degrees. So if you don't believe, you just need to plug that. Because if I take 101 subtract from 180, that will give me 79. So the other way, if you want to work yourself out, you want to find measure of angle L, that will be 12 times 7 minus 5. The last time I checked 12 times 7, I believe that will give you 84 degrees. If you take 84 degrees and you subtract 5 from 84, that will give you 79 degrees, like I predicted when I did that mentally. So those are the scenario we end up with. Alright? So we're done with y and we find those two angles. So we need to find the other model equation to find the other two angles, which are angle K and angle M. So as you can see, that you just erase and keep a portion of that as a model equation. As you know, those two opposite angles. This case will be angle M and angle K are opposite, so they have to be supplementary. So I will have measure of angle M plus measure of angle K will be equal to 180. So I'm going to take the algebraic expression for angle M, which is 4x plus 14 plus angle K. The algebraic expression is 6x minus 14. This is we finally catch a break. So you have a positive 14, you have a negative 14. Those two going to cancel each other out. So the only thing you have to do, you take the 4x plus the 6x, that will give you 10x is equal to 180. then you divide by 10. As you can see, that 10 goes to 180 18 times, therefore x will be 18 degrees. Remember, this is your partial answer. Now, in order to find measure of angle M, we just replace that. You will have 4 times 18 plus 14. I believe 4 times 18 is 72. So that will be 4 times 8 is 32. You carry the 3. 4 times 1 is 4 plus 3 is 72 plus 14. And that will give you a measure of angle M. If you take 72 plus 14, that will give you measure of angle M. Should be 86 degrees. Alright? Now you can subtract 86 from 180. That will leave you with 104. So let's go and do that. If you don't believe, you can go and do the mental, if you don't believe in mental math, or if you don't like to expand it somewhere yourself. So you take 6, you times 18, and you take away 14 from that. So we already concluded it's going to be 104 if you take that. But if you don't believe, you do 6 times 8 is 48. You carry the 4. 6 times 1 is 6. 6 plus 4 is 10, is 108. And you subtract 14 from that. And that will give you a measure of angle K. As you can see, if you subtract 14 from 108, alright, that will give you 94. The answer should be 94, not 104. So my math was not correct myself. So that's the reason you don't really believe when you do it mental math. That will give you 94 degrees. And that's what measure of angle K should be. So if you take 94 plus 86, that will give you 180. So if I angle M to be 86 degrees, angle K to be 94, that's the power of math. You start with something that was not known, and you end up finding what it is. You are only giving an algebraic expression. You just need the theorem that you know, and you apply those concepts. Then you find exactly what these angles are. So that's what you need to do when you start liking math. That's the way it is. Alright, I'm going to do one last problem, which is very challenging, that will telling you how to check yourself. Alright, this is the last for last. Always leave the best for last, so that should be the best for last. Alright, this is the same concept. The only difference is going to require more application. It's tougher than that. So where you will use create two linear equations, then you will use substitution or elimination, then you will see how you can get to level 4 or level 5, because some questions, even though they are the same concept, some of them require more work. Alright, as you can see, angle A and angle D are opposite angle. They will add up to 180. The only difference, as you can see, you will have two different variables. So that's the main difference. Other than that, it is the same concept. So I will have measure of angle A plus measure of angle D is equal to 180. Then when I replace that, I will have 26y, alright, plus 2x is equal to 180. This I end up with a deadlock, so I cannot solve for that. I have two variables. So I'm going to create another equation. This and that. I will have measure of angle B plus measure of angle C is equal to 180. Alright, then I will have 21y plus 3x is equal to 180. So I have another equation also. Those are looking like. So if I want to make equation much easier, those are divisible by 2. I can simplify that as 13y plus x is equal to 90. Then also those are divisible by 3. If I divide this by 2, that will give me 7y. Alright, plus x is equal to 90. So I make my life easier. So as you can see, those equations are linear equation. I can use linear combination or substitution. So linear combination, I will solve for x in the first equation, or I can multiply the first equation by -1, then do linear combination. So this equation is going to become negative 13y minus x, right, minus 90. Alright, then that will lead me to what I want to get. So I will end up with negative 6y is equal to 0. Divide by 6. When I divide by 6, I find y to be 0. If that's the case, that would be a good thing. So I can go and solve for x. So when y is 0, then I will have x is 90. So that's what we will do. So this is the problem, and that was Mr. DCS. You need another one. I'll see you when I see you. Alright, we keep the best for last, where we have this. So we're going to create this equation. Angle B and angle C are supposed to be supplementary. You will have angle B plus measure of angle C is equal to 180. Then we're going to replace what angle B is. That will be 21y plus 2x is equal to 180. As you can see, those are 3 in common. You can divide everything by 3 to make it more simpler. Then you will have, in this case, 7y plus x is equal to 60. Then there's nothing you can do for that. Then since we have multiple equations in terms of x and y, we're going to create another equation, which will be measure of angle A plus measure of angle D should be equal to 180. So see if you can solve this by substitution or by linear combination, where you have 26y plus 2x is equal to 180. The common factor is 2. You simplify this by 2. Then you will end up with 13y plus x is equal to 90. So we're going to combine those two equations. Either you solve by substitution or by elimination. So I will use linear elimination method. So I will multiply the first equation by -1, where x can be cancelled out. I will end up with -7y minus x minus 60. Then I'm going to bring the other equation, which is 13y plus x is equal to 90. Since I'm going to use linear combination or elimination, so I will end up with 6y. Those x will cancel each other, is equal to 30. Then I will divide both sides by 6. In this case, y will be 5 degrees. Then I know y. Then I can come in one of them and solve for x. So here I will have 13 times 5 plus x is equal to 90. then I will end up with 13 times 5 is 65, plus x is equal to 90. The only thing I have to do is to subtract 65 from each side. Then in this case, I will have x is 25. X is 25 degrees. Now I know x, I know y. I can find the measure of each angle. Now x is 25. That will be 3 times 25. Angle C will be 75 degrees. Alright. And angle D will be 2 times 25, which is 50. This is how powerful. Then I know y. Y is 5. Then I will take 26 times 5. That will give you 30. That will give you 10 plus 2 is 130, because those two angles have to be added up to 180. Since y is 5, I will take 21 times 5, which is 105. So you solved that mystery. That was Mr. Disease. Like we said, we keep the best for last. This is very, very, very challenging equation. That was Mr. Disease. Practice, practice, practice. Good your work and share it. Make the grade. Peace out.